Congratulations on your purchase of the Onefinity CNC. We're thrilled to have you as part of the family. In this video, we'll be assembling the Woodworker Edition, but these same steps will apply to the Machinist Edition. The Onefinity's capabilities may be infinite, but our time is not, so let's get started on this assembly.
We're starting out with a 48 by 48 surface, and inside of this box we will find the Z slider and one of the two Y rails. Here we remove the Z slider from its foam packaging. We recommend keeping your machine and accessories original packaging in the unlikely event that you need to send them back to Onefinity for service. Next we will remove the X rail. If you purchase the Stiffy accessory, it will come pre-installed on the X rail. If you did not, the X rail will only have two steel tubes. We will remove the accessories and open them later. The large black aluminum box is the Onefinity controller, the brains of the machine. The front has an on-off switch, the top has an emergency stop button, and the back contains all of the connection ports. The large white foam insert can be opened and contains all the wiring, the touchscreen, and the hardware. The contents of the brown accessory box are the Suck It Does Poop Pro and the Touch Probe. These are both add-on items. The content of the black accessory box is the joypad, one of the many options to jog the machine. This is also an add-on item. Now to set up the machine. First, bring in both Y rails. Please note the orientation of the motors and plug ends. We will set up ours with motors in the back, but the Onefinity gives you the freedom to install them in the front if you choose to do so. We will temporarily place the X rail onto the Y rails to gauge how far apart to place the Y rails from each other. Now remove the X rail. Starting with the right Y rail, slide the foot forward until it is flush with the tabletop. Install one screw into the front right of the foot. This will create a pivot point for squaring the machine. Slide the gantry block all the way forward. You may need to spin the ball screw by hand. Slide the left Y rail foot forward until it is flush with the tabletop. Then slide the gantry block all the way forward. When positioning the X rail, ensure the stepper motor is on the right side of the machine. Adjust Y rails until the gantry assemblies are flush with the X rail ends. Note, it is important that these parts are flush with each other before fastening together. We will now secure the X rail to the gantry blocks using the 8 bolts provided. You will need an M5 hex key. Attach a screw in the front left foot. We can now square the machine by sliding the X rail all the way to the back of the Y rails. This will force the back of the Y rails to the correct spacing. When sliding the X rail backwards, be careful not to crush the Z slider cable. We then place the screws into the back foot of the right Y rail. With the X rail still in the farthest back position, screw the back left foot to the tabletop. Return the X rail to the front of the machine. Place the remaining screws in the front left foot. It is time to install the Z slider to the x-gantry block. Locate the Z slider bolt pack in the 4 bolt holes on the x-gantry. Manually position the Z mount to the center position to access the mounting holes. You will notice that there are 3 holes at the bottom and top of each side. This hole pattern allows for greater control of your desired Z height. We will be mounting the Z slider using the center hole pattern. Insert the bolts into the 4 holes and tighten. These bolts require an M3 hex key. We will be going over how to tram in another video. The factory spindle mount accommodates 65mm spindles. We recommend the Makita RT0701C. Lower the spindle mount to the bottom of the Z slider. Loosen the 2 spindle mount bolts. Insert your spindle. If using the Makita, the power cable should be located on the left side. Tighten the two spindle mount bolts. Remove the two bolts holding on the router cable plate. There are two channels. The smaller channel will hold the curly Z cable and the larger will hold the router cable. Connect the Z motor to the curly Z cable. Uncurl the very end of the cable. Place the curly side of the cable into the channel. Place the router power cable into the larger channel. Attach the plate with the two bolts using an M4 hex key. Leave enough slack in the router cable to ensure full Z height movement. We will now connect the controller to the Onefinity machine. The ports on the back are as follows: Load 2, Load 1, Motor 3, Motor 2, Motor 1, Motor 0, Laser, and Probe. Power input, parallel breakout board, HDMI, Ethernet, and 4 USBs. There are two sets of motor cables. Each end is clearly labeled. The M side goes to the controller. We will start by attaching Y1 to the farthest right rail. Y2 will go into the left rail. We will then attach M1 to M1 and M2 to M2. Next, we will attach M0 to M0 and M3 to M3. Now we can place cables M3 to Z and M0 to X. The Z cable will plug into the upper curly cable on the end of the X-axis. The X cable will plug into the end of the tubing on the end of the X-axis rail. In order to install the monitor mount, we'll need to slide the X-axis towards the back of the machine. Locate the monitor swing arm, and the monitor bolt package. We will also be installing the HDMI cable, USB-C cable, and monitor power cord. Locate the 4 grooves along the front Y rail foot. Place the monitor X base against the foot with the finger nuts toward the top, and insert the 4 long bolts from the front. You will need a 5/16 socket and a 4mm hex wrench to tighten down the bolts. The monitor will magnet into place. On the left side of the monitor, you will see the micro HDMI port, USB-C port, and 12-volt in port. Connect the HDMI port, USB-C, and power cable to the monitor. Connect the other ends of those cables to their respective ports on the controller. Retrieve the power cable and remove the protective plastic covering. Plug the female end into the controller and the male end into a power outlet. Insert the monitor's power brick into a power outlet and connect the circular end into the 12-volt in on the side of the monitor. Our controller ships with the emergency stop button fully engaged. To disengage, twist the red cap hard to the right until you hear it click. We can now turn on the controller, flipping the switch from the 0 position to the 1 position. Hold the upper right button to turn on the touchscreen monitor. We will now home the machine. Touch the Home button and it will find its limits while moving to the front left. We can now use the touchscreen controls to make sure everything is working properly. If something is moving in reverse, please check that the wires were plugged into the right connection ports.
That concludes the assembly video for the Onefinity CNC. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us via email at support@onefinitycnc.com or visit the forum.onefinitycnc.com. To see our other accessories, visit our website, onefinitycnc.com. Welcome to the Onefinity family. One machine, infinite possibilities.